Good afternoon, all. I'm here today basically to reinforce what my commissioner said over the weekend. He released, obviously, a statement regarding the state of traffic on the roads in Bermuda. And I think some of you would have had a pre-read or of that statement, but I'm just going to go through basically important excerpts of it, and then my friend Mr. Miners will come and basically speak on his part of it, and then we will be open to questions. Basically, Commissioner said that we've noticed obviously an increase in bad driving behaviors over the last, like I can't even say months, over the last year. And as a result, there have been 5 fatalities so far for the year, and other numerous collisions involving serious injury where persons have ended up in ICU. Obviously, our efforts will be geared towards poor driving behaviors and, as you said, dangerous traffic offenses. We'll be working in partnership with the Road Safety Council and Transport Control Department in seeking to continue education, prevention, and enforcement to raise awareness to the need to correct bad driving habits. We've released a number of candid photos over the internet and to the news medias over the weekend, and it's amazing that I was reading some of the comments, the postings that some of these photos, and it's doing what we want to do. We want it to get attention, to bring attention to the practices that people do every day. He has therefore instructed that we institute a selective traffic enforcement program, STEP in short. And this program is actually geared to the what we call the most serious and blatant offenses that target or that basically cause traffic safety issues and put life and limb at risk. On top of the list, basically we look at 6 main offenses, but what we are going to be concentrating on is not these 6 only, but all the other offenses. But these are the priorities that we'll be tackling. And the first one is impaired driving, obviously. That has been the #1 issue in the island for a number of years. Speeding, driving without due care and attention, and driving in a dangerous manner. Using cell phones, etc. while driving. Disobeying traffic signs, that is all traffic signs. And improper or unfastened use of crash helmets. And from my own experience, you will see that these 6 offenses in some form or fashion actually contribute to the majority of the serious collisions we have in the island and the fatalities also. Motorists will be reminded that these, as I said earlier, these are not the only offenses that we will be basically enforcing. All the traffic offenses we'll be enforcing, but these are the ones that we will pay particular attention to. The main objectives of this initiative, obviously, is to make Bermuda roads safer. Looking at some of the comments from the posts to the pictures that were put out over the weekend, I see a lot of persons, made mention of the fact that don't we have anything else better to do? That there are murderers out there and whatever. We'll get to that in the questioning session, but make Bermuda roads safer. Obviously, calm down the traffic. People need to slow down a little bit. And more importantly, I think, is also change bad driving habits, because I think people do things every day and they believe that it becomes normal and they figure that it's not bad, but we need to change that. So in the coming months, and it won't only be officers from my unit, it will be the entire police service, East, West, and Central divisions. So all police officers will be targeting offenses, and the Commissioner has made it quite clear there will be no cautions. So I'm taking this opportunity now to basically remind the motoring public that you know, take your time, leave home in a reasonable time to get to work, and obey the traffic laws, because when you're stopped by the police officer, then, you know, it won't be anything like, well, I was only doing this. There's no cautions being given for these offenses.
Good afternoon, everyone. The Transport Control Department stands here today in full support and in conjunction with the Bermuda Police Service. Enforcement of the law, of course, is an important component in making our roads safer. Therefore, we applaud the Bermuda Police Service for their work to enforce the rules of the road. Education is the area where TCD can play a role. We will continue to educate the community regarding the dangers of bad driving habits while providing driving tips to improve the situation on our roads. Now, the pictures that were released over the weekend underscore the need for education and enforcement on our roads. The pictures, of course, showed a wide range of offenses that included school-aged children, business persons, and everyday commuters. For our part, in the next few months, the Transport Control Department will commence with our 2013 Road Safety Education Campaign. This campaign, of course, is designed to highlight specific topics of road safety each month to educate, enlighten, and inform the community. We recognize that the twin pillars of road safety are, of course, education and enforcement. We will do our part, and we have been assured that the Bermuda Police Service will be stepping up their enforcement. Now, if any persons are looking for more information about road safety, of course, you can get that if you visit the Bermuda Road Safety Council's website at www.bermudaroadsafety.com. Of course, there's also safe driving tips as well as road safety legislation for those who need to review it. Additionally, for those persons who have been riding and driving on our roads for years and have forgotten all about what a stop sign looks and should be, of course, you can come to the Transport Control Department and pick up a traffic code handbook, because they are available there. Additionally, the Road Safety Office is available to answer any questions, concerns, or field any suggestions with regards to road safety. And of course, that is 298-2349. We believe that 5 deaths on our roads and 27 serious collisions are a sign that we must act, and we must act now.
Are there any statistics which give the breakdown between single collision accidents and 2-vehicle accidents?
Yes, but I don't have those statistics with me at this point in time, but I can get that for you if you so desire. Our traffic records officer, she collects all that data, and we have it. We have it.
And then it's no secret that the fatalities tend to be young black men. So how do you propose, how am I trying to put it? How do you enforce when you see some problem without coming across as discriminatory?
Well, if you go back to those pictures that were released, you will see all cross sections of people there. It is unfortunate that, yes, it seems as though young black Bermudian males seem to have more testosterone and to do things that probably they shouldn't be doing. But if you look at those pictures, you will see that was a cross section of society, and it is that section is those we are targeting. We cannot specify. We cannot come up with a specific thing to target young black males. We give the education in conjunction with the Road Safety Council and TCD and everyone. We educate everyone. There are some elements of the community who, for whatever reasons, may choose not to pay heed or ignore those good suggestions. But it so happens if they are young black males, then that's unfortunate. But it is not. There's something that we can specifically target those people and say, you ones need to take heed.
For years, the third lane has been a major problem on Harbor Road, Middle Road, East Broadway. What do you propose to do to tackle it this time that would be so different than in previous years to actually maybe make people be more mindful and stop that type of road behavior?
Okay, let me correct some misconceptions about the third lane first. On Harbor Road, there are some double white lines between, I think it's the Lower Ferry, just past Valley Road or whatever.
Yes.
Double white lines mean absolutely no overtaking, period. So if we should detect persons doing that, we will report them. As I said, no cautions. There's also another myth about third lane. You can't overtake a stopped vehicle. The reason why they call it third lane is you can overtake, even in heavy traffic, And I must say this because it has to be fair. However, is when you create the third lane, and that's where it comes from. If traffic is stopped and slow you on a bike, I think reasonably no one expects you to sit there behind the bike. The problem comes is when they're oncoming traffic and then you create three. If you wait till that car passes or the truck, and then you make your little safely and get in front and jump, there's nothing wrong with that if you do it in a safe way. The problems that we are having is, the biggest one is actually South Road coming to Project Chop Lights, around the sharp bend there before you get to Harmony in those areas. Where, I mean, consistently you see a stream of bikes. There's westbound traffic and there's a stream of bikes created. That is when it becomes an offense, through paying attention or anything else. So, yes, you can overtake when this traffic is stopped and nothing else is coming. But as it said, when you create the third lane and move in traffic, it becomes an offense. I hope that helps. Yeah.
Sir?
Yeah.
This tactic of taking photographs of offenders, the pictures that were released over the weekend, firstly, did those pictures lead to prosecutions of any sort, and will they? And secondly, is that tactic going to be used again in the coming weeks?
Well, in truth and in fact, that was an individual's initiative. And we, yeah, it was one of our officers off duty. So actually, I hope it answers some of the comments I saw on the Facebook, on Burn News, some of the comments I saw on Burn News. It was an off-duty individual officer's initiative, and he brought it to myself and Mr. Keynes and said, what would you do with this? I said, we can do something with this. So it was his initiative. It wasn't a police-sponsored thing per se. It's just that he was so frustrated himself in seeing things out there, and he's a photographer. He just decided to take all these pictures and send it to, to me, who's obviously in charge of traffic, and Mr. Keynes. And we decided, we can use it in a positive light to show something. So it was not a police initiative per se. But, well, obviously, it's an educational tool. It's basically as an educational tool, and that's it.
It's obvious that there wouldn't be enough officers to catch everyone, particularly pertaining to speeding. Has the idea of speed cams and you get mailed a ticket like they do in the States or the UK, is that something that perhaps could be considered?
Remember I said at the beginning that this is not only a road policing issue. This is every police officer, and the commissioner made that quite clear. There is a belief for some reason that traffic offenses only should be dealt with or will be dealt with by guys on bikes. Yes, we are more maneuverable, and we can, we can do things probably a lot better than guys on cars. But this is an island-wide initiative by all operational police officers. So you will be stopped in Somerset, you will be stopped in St. George's if you run a stop sign or if you do that. So you'll be booked by any police officer that is in a marked vehicle. So this is not a road policing initiative. With respect to your thing, that is obviously a political decision which I would prefer not to make any comments on with speed cameras. But yes, we'll be out there. Every police officer, cars, bikes, whatever we have.
There's been calls in recent past of all these serious accidents, fatalities and stuff, that the true cause of the accident is never publicized. Is there a reason behind that, and is there any looking at changing that policy? That
in itself, again, is a question that would be best left to the coroner. All fatality files go to the coroner's office, and the coroner makes that determination of what he would decide, what he would bring. So the final outcomes of any fatalities rest with the coroner as the result of what happens. There used to be open court then, but in order to speed up the process, there's no need to if it's basically a straightforward incident. So, but to answer your question, that's with the coroner's office. The coroner made that determination.
And then it deals with just regular accidents that don't deal with.
Well, we put out every month. Our traffic records officer put out a list of statistics that goes to government departments and about the causes of collisions, etc. And we list all, and those collisions, main causes are bad road surface, entering main road carelessly, falling too close, inattention, and experience. So we do list the causes of accidents or collisions. But with respect to fatalities, the final determination is made by the coroner.
And at this point in time, I would say that it goes on to driver education. I can't speak for more than my section, which is the road safety section. The road safety section is working in conjunction with the registration and examination section at TCD, looking at what we can do to enhance driver education in the country. And that includes the driving instructors, and that includes the examinations at the Transport Control Department. So at this point in time, I can only say that it is a work in progress, and we are looking at the level of instruction that people will receive in order to receive their license.
Two questions, one for David since it's already here. Has it maybe been considered, you know how the young people do Project Ride and then people get demerits, for example? Then perhaps after X amount of demerits, would it behoove for them to then enter an educational class for drivers?
That's a good one.
Thank you. As opposed, to my point?
Yes.
And then-
You're basically saying, if by chance somebody loses their license, should they not have to go through some sort of level of driver's ed in order to secure the license back? I think it's a great idea. However, it becomes a legislative thing, because there would have to be something that's legislated, so that's something, at this point in time, that I can't speak to. I can say that it's probably being looked at, and it's probably something that we should consider.
And Inspector Lewis, is there, do you know offhand, what percentage of the accidents and or, well, including fatalities are attributed to alcohol consumption?
You don't have an exact amount, but I can tell you that it's a fair amount. It's a fair percentage. It's over 50%. If you want, the serious accidents and fatalities, alcohol is a factor in over 50% of them.
Thank you.
Would it be beneficial, or would you support the road policing? Would you support the causes of fatal accidents to be made public? Would it help?
That's a two-sided question. It's some double-edged. Just statistics, from a statistical point of view, to say, we had 10 fatalities, 5 of them was a result of, let's say, alcohol. Yes, but no names, no identifying persons. No, I won't agree with that. But from a purely statistical point of view, and you want to say we had 10 fatalities last year, and 7 out of the 10, this is not truth, right? This is just, and just hypothetically, if you want to say 7 of the 10 were attributed to alcohol, then I don't have a problem with that. Because if you go on the Department of Transportation website in the States, they have all that information there. However, I would be very remiss, or I would be very hesitant to say, well, this fatality on this location was a result, because you start identifying persons and you start doing that. I don't think that would be the way to go.
I was just putting in a caveat to say that if we were in the situation we find ourselves, that sure, hypothetically, that we have had 5 collisions, five fatals
so far for the year.
For the year, and 4 were alcohol related, we already now know that it's 1, 2, 3, 4. There's only 5. Obviously, we can guesstimate of who did what and which, and that's not something we want to do to the parents, to the families. That's something that I think that we both would agree that that's something that we would rather not do.
And especially when those files are still before the coroner. You see, this is why we said earlier that it's best that those statistics come from the coroner and not from us.